All the club weekends were fun, especially back in the day when Christie would arrange, weekends at Sukasa, long renowned for its ancient hippies and its nude hot tub, a place I would never go. People look good in Lycra. I don't want to see them without the Lycra.
Well, events at that time were not many. Our club roster was maybe a couple of hundred, 300 to 400, maybe if that much. So we kind of took an initiative on his own to try to do something different. So he decided that the Berkshires would be a good adventure. He did all the planning, did a lot of phone calls, looked at some brochures. He drove out, looked at some of the inns and hotels, and posted it on the bulletin. And I think the very first year we had maybe 10 or 12 people show up for the ride.
But I was on the baptismal ride to Sheffield, and I did it for a number of years after that. And again, we had just great fun.
We used to take the train up to White Plains and ride to Sheffield from White Plains. And I remember we used to go on the New York side up Route 22, which was a very boring route. Leanne puts out some watermelons, and everybody is happy to stop there. Everybody is welcome to stop there and rest before they get to Lakeville for the lunch.
I've kind of earned a reputation for dancing. I would not say it's elegant dancing. It's probably called free-form dancing. It's a wonderful way, after a day of cycling and maybe doing 70 or 90 miles and climbing maybe Bash Bish, being able to dance at night, and it's a much better workout for the quadriceps than any hill climbing.
Oh, of course, West Point too. Good food at the hotel, great picnic on the green overlooking where the fireworks were being set off along the Hudson. I guess it was a little below us. It was just fun wandering around the campus as well. I mentioned earlier that watching the brand new cadets. I mean, these are kids that are just out of high school, and they're marching in their little gray uniforms and their little funny hats. But the idea of being at West Point and sleeping at West Point was just, and the rides during the time we were there, Goshen was one of them that quite often had a very special festival going on. Where we could, wander up and down the street and buy interesting things to eat and, just talk to people. But that was another thing that Christie did. He started so many things. They kept wanting to re-elect him for president of the club until I think he finally said, listen, there should be a rule here, term limits of some kind. But he is number one, he's just one of the nicest people in the world. And that's why I'm happy he married Jody, because she's also one of the nicest people in the world.
Sit on the hill that was across from the boathouse in Central Park. And we'd come in from a ride, Saturday, Sunday, I'm thinking Saturday, and we'd sit there, and it was so nice, just to sit there and watch people, doing laps around the park and just gossiping and talking and saying, oh yeah, we got all the hills in Westchester, yeah, today, oh yeah, it was a tough ride, we did this, we did that, and we'd make dates for Saturday night. It was a wonderful sort of bonding, the hill.
And there were 5 of us: Lee, Tony Mandione, George Schneff, Larry Rutkowski, and Marty Wolf. And the interesting thing about that, I being the only girl, I didn't ever think about this. I didn't start riding until I was 30. I was like 3 months before my 40th birthday. And it never occurred to me back then, but it certainly does now. I was 15 or 16 years older than any of them. And they're all young guys, and they're 25, 26, and here I am, 40, 41. I said, what did you guys want me along for? We went on camping trips, 3-day weekend, carrying a tent and a sleeping bag on the back of our bicycles, on our racks. And and he said, we never really paid any attention to that. On the ride that I mentioned to Utah, we did have 2 marriages come from that particular ride. And I know there must be a lot more of them, of people I don't know. But I never thought of the New York Cycle Club as being kind of a marriage broker kind of situation, but it's nice to think of that too.
It became like a topic of conversation amongst the New York Cycle Club. How many lovers have you had?
Well, and also you sort of like the going on rides and, you know, pulling up to some cute chick and you know, well, hi, what's your name? How many lovers have you had in your life?
I will say
you got a reputation. How many lovers have you had?
On my, so I was awarded.
Question number 2.
I was awarded a lifetime membership to the New York Cycle Club, and on the plaque it says, you know, for your contributions as a ride leader, as an officer of the club, and also for bringing crazy romance to the New York Cycle Club.
I met Leanne, my wife, on a ride from Buffalo to New York City called NYRATS, New York Ride Across the State. She was wearing running shorts, and I rode up to her and said, "Why are you wearing running shorts? This is a bicycling event. It's got to be really uncomfortable."
But again, meeting great people and having fun with every single one. I can't even think of a bad moment I've ever had on any event or anything that has been done by the New York Cycle Club. It's a beautifully run club. The fact that everybody is spending their time doing things for other people and doing it so beautifully, you can't ask for anything more from any kind of an organization, and I'm quite proud to be a member of the New York Cycle Club.
I became more involved in the club because I just love the club and I love cycling, and it really was therapeutic for me and at times even spiritual. You know, a beautiful day, you get into this beautiful rhythm with other people, you become as one. It's very zen.
It caters to the individual. Keeps restrictions on riding at a minimum, and yet on the other hand, does care for safety and the care of the riders and looks after the riders and looks after its own. It has a great diversity in riding, has a great diversity in the types of rides, and it just is what I think is a great organization.
I think one of the most amazing observations that I see is the way people just transform themselves when they participate in the club. I know for myself, when I joined the club, I had one pair of shorts, about 4 t-shirts, one pair of $5 Beta Biker rubber bicycle shoes, and one old MSR helmet. Now it's a number of years later. I have a bike shop in my apartment. I don't want to tell you how many bikes and sets of clothing. But even more than that is the improvement of cycling that I see people go through as they take the SIG, as they just ride, as they learn from their friends in the cycle club. One of the best stories I can recall is a very dear friend of mine, Donna Slattery, who, when I came back from that very first ride, told her about it, the club, and she had just gotten a new Ross 10-speed bike. At our first ride, we rode from Brooklyn to Central Park at a blistering speed of about 12 or 13 miles an hour. She got off the bike, promptly threw up, and had to be resuscitated with half a gallon of Diet Coke. About 2 years later, she was voted Cyclist of the Year by the New York Cycle Club. And even today is beating the pants off male racers who she rides with in New Jersey. And I've seen that story repeated over and over and over again with lots of men and women that I've come through over the years.